Okay, so I know it's been a while since I made a video, and it was on the battery upgrade with the Seplos. So I kind of wanted to start out on this page. This is our solar monitoring system that is set up in Home Assistant that I've shown in the past, but now I'm actually showing the Seplos packs individually. I don't believe I've done this before. So what I've got here, and what we've got starting at the top. We've got about 1980 amp hours. I'm at 99.9% state of charge. That's based off of 1980 amp hours. You can see I'm 1 amp hour short. We went into float mode. And the funny thing about the Schneider, when it goes into float, this may be true of some of the other stuff as well. It kind of shuts down the solar charge controllers for a while, maybe to cool them off. I don't know. They do get kind of hot when they run full bore, especially the new one I have. Anyway, inadvertently, I guess I go down a little bit in state of charge, but it tries to catch back up. And see here, I've got the battery voltage 51.04. I try to keep it around 54. And then this number here is the battery time. Now, if it's positive, I think I've gone over this before. If it's positive, that's the amount of time it's going to take to get to 100%. So this is in hours, 1 hour or 1.28. So what is that, an hour and 15? So it'll bounce around here depending upon the net battery power that I'm showing up here in the upper right-hand corner. We get on from there. There's a temperature. Now, this isn't really the battery temperature. This is the sensor coming off of, where's that guy coming off? I think the Batmon. So it's actually showing the room temperature. So we're currently at 77 degrees as far as that guy is concerned. I also have another temperature sensor in here that I use. I used to use it to control the air conditioning in here. And then the air conditioner I bought, which was a Serene Life, I think I talked about it some videos ago. It used to have a Wi-Fi attachment, but it stopped working for whatever reason. So I used to have an automation in Home Assistant that if the temperature sensor, which let me scroll to the bottom here, the equipment room temperature right inside here is 85 degrees. It's a little warm, but it's comfortable. And if this temperature got, I forgot, 95 or above 95, I would have that actually turn on. So let me scroll back up here. Anyway, it doesn't work at the moment because, like I said, the Wi-Fi doesn't work on that AC unit. I may end up replacing it with a mini split in here, but we'll talk about that later. And then we go down from there. I should say the temperature obviously comes back in Celsius. That's everybody deals in the metric system when you're dealing with electronic equipment today. I did a conversion within Home Assistant to convert it to Fahrenheit so that us folks in the U.S. can figure out actually what 25 degrees Celsius means. So anyway, that's what that is. And then the other, let's see if I scroll down a little bit. The other 8 lines here show the 8 packs. So I have 8 of these Seplos DIY Mason kits, and half of them are using 280 amp hour batteries, which were new that I showed, I believe, in some of the previous videos. Those are those 280 LFK batteries, or 280 amp hour LFK, the Eve cells. And then the bottom packs, 5, 6, 7, and 8, those are actually using my older 272 amp hour. Now, I communicated with Seplos on the usage of these, and they said it would be okay because the size of them are actually pretty close to the 280s. The only problem I had is the terminal posts for the positive and negative. Now, those are a little more inset into the battery than the 280s. So the only thing I had to do is I used the bus bars that came with those batteries, and those worked fine. But the way the Seplos packs are set up that I showed in the last video, and this was some time ago, and I'll show a picture on the screen what that looks like. But anyway, I had to put a custom bus bar, and I basically just used some of the leftover copper bar that I had, and I made a custom bar to jumper pack 8, or I should say cell 8 to cell 9 within those packs. That's the only customization I had to do to make them work, but it works fine. They're great. They're a little bit out of whack on the balancing. I only balanced them up to, I want to say it was 3.5 volts per cell, I think, when I built these packs. I forget. I didn't want to leave them at a high state of charge because it took so long to build these packs one by one. And since this is our only mode of power, besides the generator, but I didn't want to run on generator, I had to get these packs into production. So I got them up to, I believe, 3.5 and put them into production. Well, when it goes into absorption mode, so that I'm showing the 3 solar controller status here is 3 their floats, and it's showing the voltage according to the charge controllers. And I have it going, I believe, for 60 minutes in absorption mode. And depending upon the time of year, we could fill up sooner than later. We may get to 100% while we're still in bulk, or we may hit it maybe halfway through absorption. I just kind of let it go and do its own thing because it doesn't really get too crazy as far as the differential here. Now you can see what's the highest differential we got here, 56. So 56 millivolts. Not too crazy. The Seplos BMSs will actually give you a warning if the differential gets too, and I want to say it's 150 millivolts. And if that happens, I actually turn this battery, I believe, to yellow, if I remember right, or red. I forget. So I do have some indications as to how this screen might look. So anyway, this is showing the differential. On the right-hand side here, we're showing the pack voltage, and then we're showing what the Seplos BMS says is the state of charge. Now you can see here, a lot of these are different in what they think the state of charge is. Now you can see the bottom one is at 95.9, and then we've got, what is this, pack 5 at 96.3. Now those are the 272 amp hour cells. Now, I know in the last video, one of the things that I said I wanted to do was to be able to crack the code on the Seplos communication. I think I may have mentioned that in one of the comments that I did. So I got that through, and what I have is I've got a Raspberry Pi, and it's actually connected via USB dongle to the RS-485 port on battery 1. And then all the batteries are daisy chained together. I'll throw a picture up here so you can see. They're basically daisy chained together. I bought some short length cables to daisy chain them all together. And then I use a custom Python script that I wrote to communicate to the Seplos batteries. Now, basically, this is just about everything I could get out of the Seplos. Now, there's a few things, like some of the warnings, but I've got everything down to the cell voltages described, or I should say reported in this program. And basically what it does is the same thing I'm doing for Home Assistant and talking to the Schneider equipment. I did the same thing for the batteries. So I have a little server that runs on that Raspberry Pi. And like I said, it uses that USB dongle to convert RJ45 and then to USB for the Pi. And then the Pi is running basically a web server. Home Assistant hits that thing every, I believe, 5 seconds or so to refresh the statistics. So as you can see here, I got all the packs laid out, 1 through 8, state of charge, amp hours, state of health. Now, it's one of the cool things Seplos gives you. And it's based on how many times you cycle the battery, some degree down to 0 up to 100%. So you can see all my batteries say their state of health 100%, which I believe is true. I never really ran these batteries down. Even when I just had the 272 amp hours, I never ran them down below 30%. So they've been fairly charged most of the time. And today, and these days, with the way the weather's been, I mean, we're fully charged by 11 a.m. So I don't think I ever get down below 70% these days with as much battery as I have. Then I show the voltage and the state of charge for the pack. And the reason why this is redundant with this is I use this same value on that other page we saw. So this value is actually computed, and that's why it's showing the voltage with the state of charge again down here. It shows the amps in or out. So let's see, everything is 0. So right now we're just floating, and the charge controllers are meeting my needs for power production. I've got the low cell voltage, the high cell, and the high cell voltage. So I can identify those if I want to. And then I've got the delta here, and that's what I'm showing on that other page. And then the 4 temperature sensors within the pack itself, that's coming off the Seplos BMS. And then, like I said, every single cell voltage I've got here. Now, like I said, this isn't the full extent of the data you can get out of the Seplos BMS through that RS-45 port, but this is enough that, I can tell what's going on, and I can do some some cool stuff within Home Assistant here in order to report on issues that I have. So, but anyway, just to give you an overview about battery upgrade and where things are. Yep, that's about it. I think I already talked about the solar upgrade with our new solar array. That thing is kicking butt. I know I call it our summer array because I think I mentioned this in that upgrade video. We actually lowered the angle, the tilt down, so that it actually is a little more flat. So we catch a lot more summer rays. And the reason for that is we run a lot of air conditioning here. We like it cool, and I want to make sure this room stays cool. So during the daytime, I try to keep this room about 80, 85 degrees like it is right now. Yeah, so we run a lot more electricity. So that's why I have that set up the way it is. Any questions or comments, feel free to put those down below. I hope you like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, like I said, put those down there. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to go over Home Assistant with you guys, talk about Schneider communication, or if you want to do your own thing, if you have another inverter charge controller technology that is able to talk either Modbus or CAN bus, I could probably help you out with that. If you look through some other videos, I actually post where I put all the code. I actually use GitHub to host all of the code that I use, and I've got that all up there. So if anybody wants any help with that, I'm happy to help. And just drop me a line in there, and we'll get in touch and do all that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and this has been JCDC and the AZ. We'll talk to you later.